In my junior year at Burbank High School in about 1965, I took the journalism English class rather than the English literature class. That's what everybody else would have to take. Why? Because I'm not a good reader. I wasn't a good reader then, and so I took the one that would require less reading, they told me, and it turned out to be that way. However, even though I took notes in the class and I understood all the lectures, I really did know my material, but I never read the notes, and that was a dilemma for me. Never read the notes, so that meant that I was always surprised when I would come into the classroom and find that there was something either due or something happening that particular day. Well, on this particular day, all the other students had boxes, it seems like, of different source materials for something. I didn't know what. I didn't really care. And then the teacher, Mr. Larry Lloyd, announced, all right, today, as you know, is the day you're going to write the editorial that you have been researching all this time. So you're going to write it here in class. And by the way, whoever writes the best editorial, we will publish it in the school paper. We were juniors, but the regular journalism class was for seniors. But here would be an opportunity to have your work showcased in the school paper. I wasn't worried about that. As with everything else in the winging it world of Don Ray, my goal was to simply pass and not fail. So, armed with nothing whatsoever, I did what I always did. I looked up at the clock, which was always moving much too quickly when I needed to complete something. And that day was no different. Right next to it, as in every class and every classroom I'd had in Burbank, there was an American flag there. And I always noticed that the American flag had 48 stars, even though we had, for at least the last 5 or 6 years, we've had 50 states. But this flag was always 48. It was that way in every classroom that I could remember, because the flag was always near the clock, and the clock was always something that was either running too slow if it was a lecture or too fast if it was something that was due. Fine. So I decided to make my editorial about that very thing. And I went out on a limb and I wrote an editorial that basically said, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And then I said something like, every day, thousands of students in Burbank salute the American flag, but not the official American flag. Why is it that we're still using a 48-star flag even after Hawaii and Alaska became states 5-6 years ago? It's a good editorial, I thought, but I basically declared that there were no 50-star flags anywhere in any Burbank classroom, which I didn't check out. I just used my logic. If I hadn't seen them in 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, or whatever, at least from the time we had 50 states, I thought it was likely that I was correct. But what does it matter? I just wanted to pass this exam or this assignment of writing the editorial. So I wrote it up, and because I took notes and because I remembered the lecture, I knew what the elements of an editorial had to be. You had to present a problem, you had to give examples of it, you had to then offer a solution of some sort and make it compelling. So I wrote that up, and I was happy that I was able to submit something. No more worries. So then the next day when we showed up, Mr. Larry Lloyd, the teacher, said, well, all right, I've picked the winner of the editorial contest, and it's Don Ripley. I went by the name Ripley back then because my mother had remarried, so I was using the name Ripley. Anyway, Don Ripley has won it, and his story will be in this school paper. That was fine with me. It didn't matter whatsoever. It felt a little bit good, but still a little bit edgy because I kind of was winging my way through that assignment. So that's fine. The paper came out on a Friday, and I took it home. I don't remember if I even showed it to my parents. Maybe I did. But that was fine. That was everything I needed to do, and I felt good about being published for the first time. Anyway, the following Monday morning, I walked up these stairs, the outside metal steps that went up to the 2nd floor of the Industrial Arts Building, where the journalism department was, conveniently upstairs from the from the printing shops down below. So I went in and started to walk toward my seat, and through the glass window of Mr. Lloyd's office, he pointed his finger at me and gave me one of those come here gestures with his finger. Okay, that's fine. So I went inside and he said, have a seat. And I said, okay. He said, we had a little bit of problem with your editorial. And I thought, oh shit, I'm busted big time. He says, yeah, apparently when people took the school paper home that day on Friday, people were alarmed at the allegations that there were no 50-star flags in any classroom in Burbank. And I'm thinking, oh, holy shit, I'm really screwed now. He said, so the calls went in to the principal and to the superintendent of schools. And so immediately this morning, they called me into the principal's office, and the school superintendent was there, and they wanted to know exactly why I had allowed this editorial to run in the school paper, why this incorrect editorial ran in the paper, why this blasphemous false facts in there. He says, I was kind of stunned, so all I could say is, I stand by my reporter. And I thought, oh, holy crap, I'm really in for it now. So then he said what they did was they said, all right, we'll find out. So they sent a delegation around to every classroom in every school in Burbank, elementary, junior high, high school, and they could not find a single 50-star flag. And he said, so I'm really glad that you did your research. You were right. You saved the day, and it was a great editorial. And I said, oh, okay. And then he says, oh, by the way, look out there in the classroom. So we look out in the classroom, and there was a 50-star flag there. And I said, wow, that was quick. He says, well, what happened was they went searching for the flags that they had ordered years ago, and they were still boxed up in a supply room somewhere. So your editorial was good, and you did fine, and I wanted to congratulate you. I walked out there not feeling so congratulated, but like I had dodged the biggest bullet in the world. But I'm going to attach the actual editorial here. You can see it yourself. And one more time, Don Way winging it turned out to be okay, and I saved the day and even put some patriotic flags in the classrooms during the time of the Vietnam War. So there.